Cool.
All right, what's up, everybody? We got Javi here from WInDaily and myself, Nick Bretwisch. I think Scott and both David, who hosted the live stream last week, are out of town, right, Javi? I think so. Both on vacation, doing something, living the good life. So we're gonna get over the Week 8 DFS slate today. Just take it game by game. Javi and I will go over our favorite plays, maybe on a cash game side, GPP side, and get all the injuries taken care of for you guys because there's a ton of injuries going on right now. A lot of people late last night got scratched, so hopefully you're tuned in here, ready to change your lineups around, and let Javi help you build a winner here because this guy is on fire. So I'll let Javi kind of go into it here. He's a 3-sport athlete taking down NHL GPPs, NBA, and obviously NFL. So this is the guy to have on the stream here.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Yeah, it's been a pretty blessed few weeks. And it goes back to for those subscribers that listen to the podcast, it's about having a set core plays and playing off those. With hockey this week, I had like 4 or 5 guys I was locked into, and I max entered that way, and I basically just I hit it. I hit 5 of the top 6 spots. With basketball, I have a course set. I've been using Gus Medina's cheat sheets and just getting locked in that way. And then with football's been my most profitable with hitting 4 live final tickets so far in Puerto Rico. So I'm gonna get that 5th one today, and then
Awesome,
yeah,
man.
well, I'm gonna guide you guys to the promised land. That's the plan today.
Yeah, and just for everybody that's tuned in, so everything that Javi is going off of for this recent success, everything's on the website. Like he said, the cheat sheets are a huge benefit for you if you don't have time to, put hours into this like we do on a daily basis. Just go to the cheat sheets, go to Slack with a premium membership there, and just ask us any questions you got, because that's the one thing I love about WInDaily is everybody is happy to help you. Wouldn't you agree there, Javi? That it's
Oh
kind of
yeah,
like
for sure.
it's a family environment, if you will. Everybody's ready to help you. Send a screenshot of your lineup. We'll talk to you, kind of figure out what you're trying to accomplish with that lineup, and just
Yeah,
shake it around a bit to help you with an optimal build there.
I spend more time on there than with my fiance. Don't tell her I said that. I lowered my voice when I said that, but yeah, I'm always on there helping out. Please DM me, post on there. All the other pros are on there. David Jones, Jason Mizrahi. We're all on there. Nick's on there as well. So what I'm gonna do is Nick's gonna guide us through the slate, and I'm gonna basically tell you my plays. I have, yes, I'm max entering in the $1 million maker, but I have big lineups in, $3,000 tournaments, $1,600 tournaments that I'm maxing out in a few of those. So I have a limited player pool, and I'm going to dive into what I'm going to use in those smaller big tournaments. So take my advice and let's win some money.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get right to it. So
Mm-hmm.
the first game of the week is that I got here is New York at Detroit. We have a total of 50 points, give or take, maybe half a point or a point there if it changed. I put these all down last night, and then Detroit's favored by 6. So the notable injuries, obviously, Kerryon Johnson was put on IR. So if you have him in your lineup, get him out, season-long DFS, whatever the case may be. Then Detroit is quite banged up on the defensive side. So Darius Slay's out. So I think that puts Mike Ford in, who's really never been a starter in his whole life. So I
Mm-hmm.
like New York side of the ball here. And Mike Daniels, did we get a ruling on him yet? I think he's questionable, so we probably won't
Yeah,
know
game
until
time decision is what I saw.
yeah. So either way, he's banged up. He's a really good run stopper. So if he's out, obviously we love Saquon Barkley no matter what. But I I hate to be the chalky guy here, but Saquon's my number 1 running back on the board. I'll just get that out right now. And
Yeah,
Sterling
yeah.
Shepard is also out. So hopefully this opens up things for Ingram. And, we can go into this game a little bit more in depth here. I'll let Javi kind of give his initial thoughts there.
Yeah, so from that side of things, the Giants, I like Barkley a lot. The run defense for Detroit is ranked towards the bottom. So for Barkley, he's a good play, but I don't know, he's just too expensive for me. And this is only his
Yeah,
second week
no,
back.
it's tough to get him in builds. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, yeah, I prefer to save up at running back and just go the route of paying up at wide receiver, and I'll go through my favorite wide receivers. It's probably going to be the chalk too, especially in most smaller tournaments. But uh, a sneaky play is Evan Ingram. I don't think he'll go as highly owned. I mean, for me, he's projected under like 12-13%, so he could be a sneaky play.
Yeah,
Daniel
I'm seeing
Jones
him
does
right
like.
around 10% on DraftKings too.
Yeah, yeah. So on FanDuel, Evan Ingram 6,300. He's a little cheaper than like Darren Waller and Amari and Austin Hooper, but I don't know. You can save some salary with TJ Hawkinson on the line side, but I'm not going to pay up at running back. I'll have a few lineups, so I have 15 tournament lineups. Saquon's going to be in maybe a handful. So
Should be a little underweight on the field there with Saquon.
correct. Yeah, he's going to
So
be high owned too, 20,
yeah,
25%.
yeah. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, I've become more of a cash player this year. Last year, I was strictly, GPPs. I thought cash games were, gimmicky and you obviously can't win the big bucks that way. But it's a great way to build your bankroll, and that's kind of what I've been preaching in the chat all the
Yep.
time in the Slack channel is, not everybody has the bankroll to go win, $25,000 in a GPP, so
Mm-hmm.
you need to start, whatever your budget is, that's fine. Play $5 GP or $5 double ups, $100 double ups, $500 double ups, whatever your bankroll allows. But that's just a
Mm-hmm.
great way to just keep doubling down and, take a shot or two on a tournament every week. And then you start to get a bankroll like Javi has here, and you can play these $3,000 GPPs.
Mm-hmm.
It's on house money. And that's when you could really just start getting on fire here to take down some GPPs the rest of the year. But I think, my love for Saquon is more on a cash side, and he's
Yep.
obviously Saquon Barkley, so there's not a whole lot to say about him that you guys don't already know. But Detroit, what I love about targeting Detroit here is they've given up, I think I got it here, is 34 DraftKings points to running backs the last 3 weeks. So they are obviously bleeding on the defensive end and just can't stop the run. And Saquon's obviously one of the top running backs in the league. But last week, what I didn't like about Saquon, so I wish his price would be a little bit lower. I think you're paying for the name brand there, but
Mm-hmm.
we're not seeing him get as much. Daniel Jones doesn't really check down to him as much. And I'm looking at his player props now. He's only, it's a 4 catch prop, which usually we see Saquon up with like Christian McCaffrey at like 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing him down at just a 4 flat, and I think the juice is on the under.
Yeah.
So that definitely scares me away for Saquon and GPPs. But if you guys like him and your roster makes sense paying up for him, then obviously I'm not going to talk you off of him. But for cash, he's a lock for me in cash. But I think with,
Mm-hmm.
like Javi said, there's just no need to go up there in a
Mm-hmm.
GPP unless you're doing like mass multi-enter, whatever the case may be. I don't think he'll make my main GPP lineup. I usually play like 60% cash, 40% GPP, and I'm not mass entering anything besides the Millie Maker last week when it was $10. You always got to take a shot there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm a big yeah, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say I'm much higher on the Detroit side. Don't get me wrong. I think the
Oh, yeah.
Giants
I
are gonna
felt
have
bad
some
for him.
locks. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Giants are gonna have some. They're gonna get some ownership with Evan Ingram and Saquon, and Golden Tate. I think Golden Tate's very sneaky. With their banged up secondary. So I don't hate it. I will have Golden Tate in my lineup. I'll tell you that now. He's 6,100 on FanDuel, so he's priced pretty well. And to be honest, I have one tournament lineup where I have a game stack here. It's going to be Stafford, it's going to be Galladay, and it's going to be Golden Tate. So uh, just spilling the beans right now for everyone. So
Yeah, I'm seeing Golden Tate under 5% on
oh
DraftKings.
yeah.
That's insane. I
Hmm.
thought he would be like the chalkiest build for them all. His price is there. He's very affordable. And I mean, was it Justin Coleman's going to cover him in the slot, who's a very good slot cornerback? But, Golden Tate's a veteran. He knows how to get open. He catches everything. So, yeah, at that ownership, Tate was off my board earlier
Yeah.
in the week, to be honest with you, but I had no
Hmm.
idea he would be that low. So I'm going to definitely have to
No, yeah, he's gonna take
adjust
down a
some things.
GPP. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, especially on DraftKings. We get that full point PPR. I haven't looked at his props, so I'll look at that in a second here.
Hmm.
Is there any other plays on this game that you like a lot on the
Oh yeah.
line
Oh yeah.
side? Any Danny Jones love?
No, not really. I mean, I'll throw him in the Millie Maker. I like.
Of
So I
course.
have a select few quarterbacks and wide receivers stacks, I guess you can say, on in the Millie Maker. I usually try to go every game, but I actually limited it down this time to try something different. But my favorite play is Ty Johnson. He's 5,200. He's going to be in. I said 15 tournament lineups. He's probably in 13 of my 15 tournament lineups. I know it's a little heavy. I'm not hedging, which I don't like to do. Um, but Ty Johnson's 5,200 on FanDuel. He's your best salary saver. They came out said he's the starting running back for Detroit. The Giants rank bottom tier in run defense and just overall defense as a whole. So I have a lot of Ty Johnson. I have a lot of Kenny Galladay, and I have a few Matthew Stafford. So those are my top 3 plays. I don't hate the Ingram play. I don't hate the Tate play, but I'm higher on the Detroit side. So,
All right, so you're obviously playing the Millie Maker. I'm going to give you a name. I would love to hear your thoughts on him. I like him a lot. I've been a big believer in his talent. The snaps are there. I think he's played 92% of the offensive snaps the last 2 weeks,
okay.
and ridiculously cheap on DraftKings. I'm assuming the same on FanDuel. Darius Slayton. Millie Maker
No,
only. Do you think you could take a
no,
shot on him in a
I'm
single
not. I'm
entry
not
or just
doing it.
off
No,
off your board?
My favorite thing to do in Millie Maker is a wide receiver and tight end with a QB stack, or two wide receivers. And I don't have Slade. I have Golden Tate with Evan Ingram and Daniel Jones. It's like 5 of my 150 lineups in there. So no Slade.
That makes sense. I'm gonna have a little bit of Slayton today, guys. I think it's probably a little crazy, but that's more of a Million Maker lineup. I would not put that in a single entry GPP, or definitely not a cash game. But at that price, I think, I mean, if you want to use Saquon and Christian McCaffrey, the two top dogs on the slate at the running back position, which I don't think is an optimal build. I'm not going to sign off on that. But if you want to, Darius Slayton's a great guy to get in the lineup to kind of help, and Ty Johnson, obviously. So Ty Johnson's going to be insane chalk today, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's going to be insane chalk, but he's a cash and GPP play. So get Ty Johnson in your lineups.
And that's one thing. Everybody's always talking about that. Like, do you have to fade the chalk? Like, no, if it's good chalk, just take it. Like you said, Ty Johnson has a great price, and I haven't looked at his player prop either, but I want to say he was like a 4-catch prop. So the same as Saquon. So he's getting a lot of love, and he's significantly discounted from most of the running backs on this slate.
Okay.
Anybody else? Or go ahead. We could go to the Detroit side. Whatever you want to do.
Let's take some questions in the chat. Let's see if you. I'm not seeing anything. Do you see anything in the chat?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure you
guys have questions. Yeah, put them in.
Yeah. We'll move on to the second game then.
All right. Game 2 is Tampa Bay at Tennessee. Tennessee's a 2.5-point favorite, over under 45.5. I'll let you kind of bat lead off here.
Yeah. So with Tampa Bay and Tennessee, I'm pretty much fading this game for the most part. I'm fading Tampa Bay as a whole. I do like Godwin in the Millie. That's about it with Jameis, but I'm off Tampa Bay for the most part. I think Godwin's way too expensive at 8,100 on FanDuel. For Tennessee, I love for tournaments. I'll have one of my 15 lineups with Tannehill, AJ Brown, Jonnu Smith. I'm just telling you now, it's going to be a crazy lineup, but it's going to be so high wide receiver, and I can get a stud running back with that play too. So again, one of my big 15 lineups will have Tannehill there against a bad Tampa pass defense. Their run defense is very good actually this year, but so that's why I'm not on Derrick Henry, but I am on Tannehill with AJ Brown, Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith is 4,900 on FanDuel. You can save a ton of money at tight end with that. And AJ Brown is even cheaper. Let me just pull up his price real quick. So he's
down there at the bottom.
He's 5,500 on FanDuel, which is very low for a wide receiver. And then if we go Tannehill's route, you can save even more money on that with 6,900 on FanDuel. So that's the only side I like personally.
All right, I'm a little different with you there. I love everything that you got on the Tennessee side. Any love for Corey Davis?
So he projects very similar to AJ Brown, but the report I saw with Tannehill last week, I liked AJ Brown a lot more. So
yeah, I definitely think that AJ Brown's a much more talented receiver. But I don't know. So I don't think this game's going to be super chalky by any means. I know a lot of people are playing Tannehill on DraftKings just due to the price. He's a great cash game play this week. I wouldn't say great, but that he's definitely going to get 2.5x, which is what I shoot for in a cash game. 2.5 times your salary. So we need Tannehill to get around 15 points, which I think will be very easy against a pass funnel defense like Tampa Bay's got. So that's kind of I love Jonnu. I'm with you there. I think a lot of people are starting to get on him though. He's still under 10% ownership, so it's nothing to worry about there. Actually, I'm seeing like 2 to 3% on DraftKings. Wow. I thought every podcast or any stream or any radio show I've listened to is like Jonnu Smith. So I figured he'd be way more. But like you said, that salary just opens up the world for you. If you want to go to Jonnu, I think that's totally fine. I do like some of these Tampa Bay pass catchers, though. I love Mike Evans. I don't think that Adoree Jackson can. I mean, he's fast, but Mike Evans got like 6 inches on him, and we all have seen just Mike Evans tear up defenses sometimes. So,
yeah,
I don't think Mike Evans is that good of a receiver. Honestly, he doesn't impress me. He's kind of slow, but those jump balls that Jameis just forces his way, I would not be surprised if Evans went for like 120 and 2 today. So I do like him a lot on my GPP side. I feel like I've been getting a lot of him with Jonnu on the other side, just kind of like a mini one guy on each side. Unless you're doing what you're doing, I do like that 3-man Tennessee stack you got there. But
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, my whole notes here is just like I like one guy on each side of this game. So it's probably going to be Jonnu that I'm moving towards the most, just because I think there's so much value at tight end. I don't really like any of the top dollar guys. Like Darren Waller's great. We'll get to that, but I think tight end's wide open this week, so you might as well just save salary there.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Tampa, you could just pass all day on these guys. But yeah, my hardest decision here is like when I do a Tennessee stack and like the Millie Maker or some 5 entry max or something like that, I will have a Tennessee lineup. It's just I'm having a hard time with Corey Davis or AJ Brown.
Yeah, it's tough. I think that's why the safest play is to be the Millie Maker.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's why I'm a little off Tannehill because I don't know who he's going to throw to. I think he'll throw to Jonnu Smith. There's some report last week, but it's tough to say. I mean, I have it in a big lineup, so it's kind of a big deal. But I'll be honest, I might fade that in my 15-man tournament stack. So
yeah. Well, the thing with Jonnu though, he's not going to kill you. If he gives you 8 points, I think you could live with that, and you could kind of make your damage elsewhere in your lineup, and that's probably your idea there too. You're not expecting Jonnu to just blow the doors off, are you?
hmm
Yeah.
yeah.
So Godwin, I mean, Godwin's got a really good prop here, 6.5 catches. So he is on my board for DraftKings. It's just I let Vegas do as much work for me as possible.
hmm
I think he's even money to score. Mike Evans is even money to score. So that's something that you don't usually see receivers have. So they're usually, like plus 120, plus 130, plus 150, whatever. So it looks
Yeah.
like Vegas kind of likes this Tampa Bay pass catchers a little bit. They have no run identity. So what if you want to play like Dare Agumbawale? I guess he's taking more snaps each week in the Millie Maker, sure. But I am completely off any Tennessee or Tampa Bay running back here. I'm sure you're the same way. And yeah, Derrick Henry, not for me. I'm more of a DraftKings player anyway, so
hmm
he's off my board. He doesn't catch passes, so I'm out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess
Yeah.
long story long there. I do like Mike Evans a lot. He was in my cash game right up, and then I took him out for Evans just because it's a $500 difference on DraftKings. Evans is cheaper, so I'm gonna go with Evans there. I think in cash games, I just like a little bit of upside, especially with how chalky this week may turn out to be from a cash side. So I like Mike Evans upside there.
Yeah.
Any love
Yeah.
for Cam Brate? OJ Howard
So
is out of this game.
yeah. So Cam Brate, he's a salary saver, but I prefer Josh Hill. I prefer
Yep,
Jonnu Smith over
I'm with you there.
Cam Brate. So I'm off of the tight end for the most part from Tampa side.
Okay, yeah, I'd say Cam Brate's worth a shot in the Millie Maker or something like that
hmm
because you know how much that Jameis likes to throw to him. But yeah, he's off my board. I don't know. I'm not a Cam Brate guy. You got to take a
Yeah.
stance somewhere. You can't play everybody, so I am out. And like I said, to recap my end here, it's just I may use one guy from each side of this game, and that's about it. Besides a Tennessee stack like the Millie Maker or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think there's I'm not seeing the question, but I did get a text about my core four for today. So I just want to answer that really quick, and we'll dive into each game as we like it. But my core four on my end, and Nick, you can go about yours too. Is going to be Ty Johnson, running back for the Lions at 5,200 on FanDuel. He's a great play
Yep.
on DraftKings too. I think he's 4,900. Leonard Fournette at running back against the New York Jets. He's at 7,700 in FanDuel. Love that play. And then for receiver, it's DeAndre Hopkins and Michael Thomas. So I'm building a lot of my lineups off of that. Hopefully that answers your questions. I'll try to figure out what's going on in the chat, but those are my core four: Ty Johnson, Leonard Fournette, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas. So
Yeah, I'll kind of do the same there. So mine's just going to be for a cash game. Obviously, when I play tournaments, I will always have some sort of correlation with my quarterback and wide receivers. But for a cash right now, I'm still not complete with my build because all the injury news last night kind of shook up my lineup. But I got 5 guys locked in right now that I don't see myself getting off of. Is Stafford, and I'm going to go with Jonnu in cash just because I need those savings right there. Barkley, Galladay, and then Lat Murray right now. So my dilemma is if I want to go Ty Johnson or Lat Murray. So That'll be my thing because I don't want to stack Detroit in cash. I guess you can because it doesn't really matter. It's not really a stack either. It's well, 3 guys is a lot. So I don't know if I want to have 3 Detroit guys in cash because their offense isn't amazing. I could see them laying an egg, and you don't want to do that in cash. Be that dependent on one team. So if I do go to Ty Johnson, and it seems like you're talking me on to Ty Johnson a lot more than I was, Javi, here, but for good reason. So if I do put Ty Johnson in there, I may get off Stafford and Galladay in cash, but those will be I'm wearing the Stafford jersey today. I'm not a Lions fan by any means, but Stafford is my QB1 on the board for my tournament plays this week. So
now is that a homer pick? Is that a homer pick though, Nick? Or
no. I'm a Packer fan, so
okay.
But
It's not a homer
I got
pick.
the Stafford. Yeah, it's for good luck. Yeah, no bias at all there. I just think he's in a great spot, and I wanted to fade Ty Johnson until you're just you're pushing me over that ledge there. You make good points.
Yeah, well, I'll talk you in as we keep going. But let's move on to the third game.
Third game we have right here in my backyard, the Los Angeles Chargers at the Chicago Bears. So the Bears are favored by 4 last I looked, and we got a pretty low total of 41. So I'm just going to come out here and say it. My favorite wager on the day is the over in this game.
Okay.
I don't know if you people want to throw up from hearing that, feel free. But LA is playing like 7 subs on defense. The Bears just looked pathetic last week in local radio here. I'm not a Bears fan either, but I pay attention to the news. And they are just ripping the Bears and Matt Nagy a new one on just they won't run the ball, and the offense is pathetic regardless. So I think that this is a big bounce back game for the Bears, and they're actually one of my favorite stacks in big field GPPs.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm off.
It's
I'm off
disgusting.
this game. I'm almost off
I do
this.
not blame you.
I'm almost off this game entirely. Mike Williams comes in as a salary saver because I believe they said Keenan Allen's out or he's going to be limited.
Yeah, he's going to test it in pregame, and they said that he sounded doubtful in his interview. So I would assume that Keenan Allen does not play, and if he does, you don't really want to pay Keenan Allen's price if he's going to be 50% health, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it's tough. Mike Williams, he comes in at 5,700. Philip Rivers is going to have to throw someone. I think it's going to be low scoring. Is the spread or the overall points, is it still 41 or is it under now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so that's not a lot of points.
I don't see it moving that much.
Yeah, I don't hate the over on that. I mean, someone's got to score, in my opinion. It's going to be the lowest scoring game of the whole slate, in my opinion. I think Denver and Indianapolis comes in fairly close, but Mike Williams at 5,700 is okay. I do like Hunter Henry a little bit more. I said yesterday on the WInDaily Sirius XM show that I wasn't as big of a fan on Hunter Henry. I said in my podcast, but now he's growing on me a little bit more because Rivers likes Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
So he's a fan of throwing to him. He's getting a lot of targets. He's 6,700, which is a little expensive on FanDuel. So I prefer to go just $200 more for Darren Waller, or go to Evan Ingram, or go to Austin Hooper. So I'm okay with going Hunter Henry now, a little bit more. In my 15 lineups, I think I have 1 share. I can double check that.
Mike Williams is going to be super chalky this week, like you said. I'm seeing like 20% ownership on DraftKings, but he's $4,000 on DraftKings. I would love to just say fade Mike Williams because the ownership at that price. Like, is there another guy priced down at 4,000 that is guaranteed to see 8 targets? And I honestly cannot say yes to that question. So that's like he's in my player pool. I'm okay with eating that chalk, especially if I think this game's going over. It sounds like I'm like the only guy in the world that thinks this game's going to score points. But I mean, Mike Williams is 100% cash viable on DraftKings just because that price. I don't think there's anything sexy about him. He could score 2 touchdowns too. He's kind of a big play guy like Mike Evans. But I have not checked his player prop yet either, so I will try to pull that up if you want to talk about anyone else in this game. Yeah, he's got a 4.5 catch prop, plus 200 to score. So yeah, Vegas really doesn't like him at all. So that's usually like if I'm sitting on the fence with a guy, that's something I'd look at is those player props again. But that price, you really don't need a whole lot out of Mike Williams. So he may be in my core 6 now for my cash game. So I guess I may build this cash line as we go on the stream.
Yeah. It's again, I don't hate the Mike Williams play. I prefer other salary savers. And yes, I know the Bears are a shell of their former self. They're not the Chicago Bears shutdown defense that they used to be. But I just don't believe in it as much. So
On
I'm pretty
FanDuel,
much
I
off this
definitely
game.
agree with you there. 5,700. So, that's not nearly the price savings you're getting on DraftKings with
Mm-hmm.
4,000 there. So I don't know. I don't love them, but I think for cash, I'll probably just take that because it's another free square. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of got Mike Williams and Johnny, and then I'll probably just pay up, like you said, for these wide receiver ones like DeAndre Hopkins, Michael
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, and Galladay, stuff like that, or maybe Sutton. I don't know. We'll kind of get to those games too. But I will tell you one thing: I love Austin Eckler in this game for GPPs.
Yeah. Yeah.
LA
Yeah.
needs to win, and I Melvin Gordon has just done nothing. They may use him a little bit just because I don't like Eckler as a runner. But
Mm-hmm.
without Evans, I love Eckler. He's going to play the slot a lot too. He lines up as a wide receiver. I think this is, and I'm seeing Eckler at like 5% ownership on DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
He will, if that stays that way, I guess I got to put my money where my mouth is here. I will stack something with the Bears and maybe just Trubisky and Robinson. I do like Anthony Miller a little bit here on DraftKings. He's 3,600. He's one of the only guys that is priced under 4K that
Mm-hmm.
has getting or averaged 8 targets a game the last 2 weeks. So it's
Yeah.
not a very big sample size, but he's been hurt all year. I think he's a great route runner. Personally, I like him as a player. But again, that's just like, it's a punt play. It's 100% a punt play. I think I put him in the cheat sheet as exactly that. He is a punt play. But if I'm going to stack the Bears on some lineups here with Trubisky, I will put Anthony Miller in there with Allen Robinson.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
With
I finally
Eckler on the
have
other side,
the
obviously.
well, I have the chat up finally. So I'm sorry for the delaying questions. I wasn't seeing your questions. So I will answer what I'm missing right now. Let me just go
Yeah,
through that real quick for
yeah,
you
we can
guys.
take
So
a
I
break. We're
apologize.
kind of we're mowing through
Yeah.
the slate here, so take your time.
Yeah.
This is
So
more for you guys anyway. I love questions.
Buster H said Jets are greater than the Cowboys. Disagree. That was a fluke. So flex Tate or Edmonds GPP single entry. Is that Golden Tate? I'm guessing it is. Or
I hope
in a
so. Don't play
GP.
on tape.
Yeah. So in a single entry GPP, it depends on the size. So if it's 100 or less, I say go Chase Edmonds. I think he'll garner a lot of ownership just because of the week he had last week. He has a terrible matchup. The New Orleans Saints defense is top 5 in the run. I prefer the Golden Tate in large field GPP
Yeah.
single entries. So yeah, that's where I'm at. With that, hopefully that answers your question. So if it's over 100, go Tate. If it's under 100, go Edmonds. He's safer. We aren't all hobbies. I know. I'm sorry. Core 4 today. I believe I answered that question. So it was Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Ty Johnson, Leonard Fournette. Core 4. Do I have any hot coffee? Yes. My fiance is the best that made me hot coffee.
Yeah, Joe Smith in the chat. I have cold brew actually with my 2020 champs White Sox. Whatever you want to call this thing, thermos. I don't know.
Yeah. Tate revenge game. Yeah, that's why I like. I don't believe in that revenge narrative too much, so I don't mind Golden Tate. And then one win at a time. Tate or Robinson. I'm going Tate. I
I'm
think.
going Robinson there.
Yeah, I think Nick likes
Allen
Robinson.
Yeah. He just does
Yeah,
it every single week, and he's got touchdown upside. I don't see that in Golden Tate. If it's full point PPR, I like Robinson both. And in any format, I'm at Robinson today.
Yeah. It's
I don't
it's a
think you can
toss
go
up.
wrong with either way, though.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Javi's really high on Tate here. I think whatever way you go, they're both great plays.
Yeah, I mean the Chargers defense is not very good. I think they're middle of the pack in pass and run defense. So it's like it's just a low scoring total. It's gonna be a low scoring game, so I'm not the biggest fan. Season long, Jonnu Smith or TJ Hawkinson.
I'm on
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for this week. It's tough. It's
there. So I
really
guess
close.
is it who's that? Scott Robinson. Scott, if you could put in
Yeah.
the chat, is that PPR or standard? Because I think standard, I'm for sure going Hawkinson. I like the touchdown equity
hmm
there you get with him. I don't know if we have that with Jonnu Smith, but if it's PPR, I definitely
Yeah,
think
I agree with you. If it's season long
yeah.
or if it's standard, go Hawkinson. If it's PPR, I actually lean Jonnu Smith. But again,
Yep, I'm
it's
with
really close. Yep.
Yep. Agreed.
How do you feel about Corey Davis? I think we dove into that. Nick likes Corey Davis more than I do. I prefer AJ Brown personally. So
Take that for what it's worth, though. I don't like either of them. But if
yeah,
I were to choose in my Tennessee stacks, I'm going to go with Corey Davis.
yeah. So season long, Beasley, McCoy, and McKissick. That's tough, but I think the safest play is McCoy. There's weather concerns with Cole Beasley today with Buffalo. JD McKissick, we don't know what kind of play he's gonna. I think he's gonna get vulture a touchdown from Ty Johnson, but that's about it. There's a bunch of fire symbols here. Thanks for that. Gonna light up the leaderboards today. That's the plan. Your chat is
Matt B.
yeah.
Shout out Matt B.
Yeah. And I think we're caught up now. Scott, let's see. Demarius Thomas is super cheap. Oh, yes. Sorry. I am on Watson more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a shootout. Wilson could be in a blowout, and it could be in the third quarter. Yeah, they're going to have to score to be in the blowout. But I think the play is Watson this week. So.
Prescott, Dallas is on a bye.
Yeah. Well, he fixed it afterwards. He said
Okay.
Wilson or
Sorry,
Watson. So Watson. Yeah.
You can't go wrong either way. I just think Wilson's not going to have to. Well, we'll get to that game.
Yeah.
Jumping the gun here.
Yeah, I think One Hudson said, can we talk about what contest enter? Yeah, we can talk about that. Let's get into the slate though, just because we were a little behind with this, and then I can talk about what contest he enters. And I have a glowing orb above my head. Thanks, Zach. I mean, it's on purpose. All right. It's been a good few weeks. Okay, so Scott Robinson said PPR. Go John Smith.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Watson. Best QB for 300-person tournament, Watson. Top 3 QBs, GPP or cash. For cash, it's Watson, Wilson, Derek Carr, I think.
I like Stafford.
Oh, sorry. You're right. Cash. This is cash. Watson, Wilson, Stafford. GPP, I'm going to take off Wilson because of blowout risk with Schaub there. I'm going to put Watson. I'm going to put Carr. I'm going to put Tannehill. I know I said I was going to switch it out of my lineup, but this is large field GPP too, is what I'm talking about. So,
yeah, my favorite for large field GPP. It's disgusting. I love Watson. He's going to be super high owned too, but I don't know if I'm not going to fade him. Obviously, I think he's the best player on the board at the quarterback position, but I'm going to go Watson and Stafford. And then I like Kyler Murray a lot. No one's going to play him. He seems to be the only quarterback on the board that could rush. I don't like it at all, but for GPPs, I would like Kyler Murray. It's either him or Trubisky, so I can't be on the Bears.
Oh man, I don't know. All right, let's get into the slate a little bit more. I think we're at Seattle, Atlanta, right?
Yes, sir. Total of 50, and I believe Seattle's favored by 8. You could go ahead with this game, bet lead off again. I like that, and I'll kind of just chime in as we go.
Sure. So I like this game a lot. This is going to be a shootout, in my opinion, but not for both teams. I think it's going to be Seattle. They're going to take a big lead going into the end of the third. Matt Schaub's at quarterback. He's 67 years old, so it's tough to.
How is Matt Schaub still in the league?
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. So I'm off Julio Jones now. Earlier in the week, in my articles, I said it's Julio. I even had lineups set up where I was going to have DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, and Julio. But now, as Schaub has taken over, I can't trust him. The only person I trust on Atlanta right now is Austin Hooper. Matt Schaub liked him as a target last week when he came in. Austin Hooper is going to feast. There's going to be a lot of checkdowns. Seattle secondary is not very good, but I think Schaub is not very good either. So it kind of balances. I lean more Seattle's defense over Atlanta's offense. So the only thing I like is Austin Hooper.
So the one thing that scares me about Hooper is Seattle just got Quadre Diggs. So we talked earlier about Evan Ingram. He's in such a great spot against Detroit because there's no Quadre Diggs anymore. He was the safety that always covered the tight end. So, I mean, Hooper's just going to have so many routes. He gets so many targets. And like you said, Schaub's probably just going to have to lean on him. It's going to be a route. Seattle should blow them out. But
yeah, I mean, I still like Wilson a lot. I'm high on Wilson. I said it in my article. I just put Watson above Wilson now. So it goes Watson and Wilson. then Carr actually, or sorry, then Stafford, then Carr. But Stafford and Carr are very close. So
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something with Derek Carr. I love that
mhm.
price.
Yeah, it's going to be a shootout. That game's going to go. I wouldn't be surprised, and I said this yesterday, if it's like 35-32 or 35-31, whatever the case is. And I think it's going to be just a throwing day. Both Josh Jacobs is a little
No
banged
one's on
up.
Derek Carr on draft.
Yeah,
Nobody's
he's
playing him.
he's almost a free square. Like I think he's 5,000 on DraftKings. I mean, you can't beat that price. I like him better than Tannehill, than Minshew, than Tannehill, all that. So Derek Carr on DraftKings, that is. Derek Carr on FanDuel, you can go any which way, but I like Derek Carr a lot. So
Yeah. So that's kind of just like a lesson that I kind of like to teach players as well. Like if Deshaun Watson's going to be 20% owned, let's say,
mm-hmm,
for him to have a successful day, it's because he is passing the ball like crazy. He obviously has rushing equity as well. But if Houston's putting up points that, like crazy, what does that mean for Derek Carr? So if Derek
mm-hmm,
Carr's at 2% ownership, like I'm seeing here, if people love Watson that much for 2K less, why would you not like Derek Carr? If he's
mm-hmm,
going to throw the ball 45 times, any NFL quarterback, like that's a good spot that we should be targeting. So I'm glad you
yeah,
brought that up because I liked Derek Carr earlier in the week. He was in my stacks article there. It's just I didn't know
mm-hmm,
who was going to play receiver for Oakland. So which I kind of like that, I guess, if you know who's going to get the production, if it's just Derek Carr and Waller and then maybe some Josh Jacobs. I don't know if he's been ruled out yet. I think he was going to try to give it a go. He's got the shoulder
mm-hmm,
injury there. But if everybody and their mother is on Watson here, if they score 30 points, then Derek Carr is going to have to throw. And like you said, you could see this game being 35-32. Like I think Houston can definitely keep this close. I got them to cover as well.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, I think we're not talking about Seattle, Atlanta here, but that's just, I'm glad you brought that up because Derek Carr
mm-hmm,
should get some serious love here in
mm-hmm,
GPPs. If people love Watson that much, it just makes sense that Derek Carr should have a respectable
yeah,
day at 2K less than Deshaun Watson. You don't need him
yeah,
to be Deshaun Watson. You just need him to get 20 points. I think this is a great spot for him to do it. I mean,
yeah.
Aaron
And
Rodgers, but
he's
he had nobody last week, and they just destroyed this Oakland pass defense. So
Yeah, he's gonna pass the ball, and he's got his favorite wide receiver Tyrell Williams back. So,
yeah,
what we don't want to jump the gun. We're gonna go game by game on everything. We focused a lot on Derek Carr, but on Seattle side, I love in the Millie Maker to go Wilson with Lockett and Metcalf. I think
yeah,
those are the only two receivers. That are left. I mean, Disley's gone, so those targets to Disley have to go to someone. And I think it's both of them. I know people aren't as high on Metcalf, but I think they're both going to feast at least for 3 quarters. Someone's got to score for it to be a blowout. And I think Wilson to those two, I can see a touchdown for each and a touchdown for Carson. I
yeah.
wouldn't say I wouldn't do Wilson with the two receivers and Carson. I'd say Wilson, Carson, and one of the receivers. I prefer Lockett personally, so I
Yeah.
have that
And
in 4 of my 15 big lineups. So there's a little
it's a
cheat sheet
great
for everyone.
spot to go to. Exactly. Because it's like you said, where these passes are going to. You may get your crazy Jerome
Mhm,
Brown touchdown or whoever else is at wide receiver 3 some days, but that
mhm,
if Wilson's passing, it's going to be to Lockett or Metcalf most of the time. So it's a great
yeah,
spot. You don't really have to make a lot of tough decisions. If you like Russell, you know exactly who to pair him with. So it's a great spot to
yeah,
go to. It's just, can Atlanta keep this game close? But I still think Seattle will,
mhm,
like you said, they're going to put up points. They got an implied total of damn near 30 points. So
yeah,
that's, I think, the highest or the second highest on the board. So
yeah.
it's a great spot. It's a great spot to go to.
Yeah, yeah. I agree 100%. So Scott Robinson asked this, and you were the last question before we cut off. He's put it in caps so that he emphasized it. Who's a good play at flex on FanDuel at 6,100? So Nick likes
That's a
Allen
hobby
Robinson a
question.
lot. Yeah, Nick likes Allen Robinson a lot. I don't hate the play either. So it's a solid play. Just looking at
I don't.
fan.
That's the one thing though about FanDuel. I do play a little bit on FanDuel as well, not nearly as much
Mhm.
of what I do on DraftKings, but that's such a touchdown heavy website or DFS
Oh,
source, whatever you want to call it.
I had a
I
I
do
had a mess
not.
up though. Sorry, I had a mess up.
You're
Allen Robinson's 71 on FanDuel, so ignore that.
okay.
Sorry, go
And
ahead.
yeah, and just do you like to? I mean, you're the FanDuel guy here. Do you like to play
Mhm.
receivers in the flex out
So
there?
it's half point PPR on FanDuel, so it's not the best play. but I think, and we'll dive into this a little bit more. At salary saver at 6,000, there's two guys that I'm targeting more than anything, and it's actually his receivers, just because of like the price tag that these people have. So it's
I
going to
like
be
Carlos Hyde.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the price.
Carlos Hyde's okay. But my play is gonna be Cortland Sutton with Emmanuel Sanders gone. I know Joe Flacco, he's terrible, he's awful, but he's got to throw to someone, right? They're gonna be trailing against Indianapolis, and he's already getting target shares, and he is projected to have over 1,300 receiving yards right now. So I like Cortland Sutton. I
Sutton's
like
beast.
Kenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Kenny Stills. He's 5,700, so you'll have some salary left over for maybe a different position. And then Chase Edmonds is number 3 for me. So Cortland Sutton, or sorry, I actually put Kenny Stills first, Cortland Sutton, then Chase Edmonds. Scott, I hope that answers your question. No more caps needed. No need to yell at us.
Is it for cash or GPP? Did he say?
He didn't say. He just who's a good play at flex on FanDuel at 6,100. So
Yeah. So I would go a little bit there. All your plays, I definitely love those. I'm not as high on the Kenny Still side, but I love Carlos Hyde's price on FanDuel here. I'm looking at that. I think that it's just getting cheap exposure to what we think will be the biggest shootout on the slate. So I think Carlos Hyde's for sure in play there. You obviously need him to score a touchdown because I don't think he's going to be a 100-yard all-purpose guy.
Yeah.
But James White, if it's a GPP, I would look at James White there too. He's going to be a little sneaky. If it's cash, no, I'm out on that. And then obviously, my love for the Bears offense today. David Montgomery would be my other one.
Yeah.
I'm just always I'm team RB in the flex every time. So whether or not that's worked for me in my DFS career here, but you're obviously the FanDuel guy, so take Javi's word first. Then
yeah. If you want to go running back,
GPP,
if you want to go running back, go Chase Edmonds. That's fine. I don't hate the play. He's the lead back. They love to give him the ball. He just faces a top rush defense in New Orleans. They haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry,
yeah. So yeah, he's
getting the
I think
game.
he'll get a lot of work in. So Chase Edmonds is a good play, but he's again top rush defense. But Kyler likes to dump it off to the running back. You can get a few catches here and there. He might get a touchdown. You like Kyler Murray more than I do. I have zero Kyler Murray. I do have Chase Edmonds.
Let me get that out there. Only in a GPP. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have a little bit of exposure to him. I think he's like 3% owned, so I'll probably be over the field, maybe go 6 to 8% in my builds.
Okay, so we'll answer a few more questions, and then we're going to move on to the next game. What do you think about Todd Gurley? I'm a big fan. I know he's struggled mightily the last few weeks, and he just came back from injury last week. He plays against Cincinnati, who allows over 185 rushing yards per game. He's going to go low owned because of how bad he's been this year, but he's going to feast today. I have two $3,300 tournament lineups. Gurley's in one of those two. That's how confident I am in it. As of right now, things can change, but as of right now, I have Gurley in as a GPP play. It's a 70-person tournament, so.
Nice. Yeah, you talked me on him on the show yesterday, so I wasn't really a believer. I just don't know how those. I mean, he's going to get the workload, so it's just if it's a blowout, we'll get to that game too.
Yeah.
But cool. You talked me on to Gurley. I think he's a great play. I think he's got some of the best touchdown odds as well. He's minus 175 to score, so that's something that I always like to value. So that's a great spot for Todd, and no one's playing him.
Yeah. I agree. By the way, Chris Pickett says I trust Nick with my life, so that's good.
Ooh,
there you go.
Don't trust me with your girlfriend, Chris.
Derek said,
I know Chris.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I know him.
Okay, I've helped Pickett a few times. He's given me a few shout outs. I appreciate that. Appreciate you, Chris Pickett.
All right. What's anything more on Seattle, Atlanta? I'm off Atlanta completely. I did like Devonta a little bit, but with Matt Ryan out, no. I'll probably pick Seattle with the points there too.
You can pivot off Devonta and fan. I did it yesterday. I had actually like 40 lineups in the Millie Maker, that is, not in my 15 lineups, 15 big tournament lines. I had Devonta, and I just pivoted to Latavius Murray. Every lineup went to Latavius Murray. So go pivot to Lat Murray if you have Devonta Freeman now. So
the view is Chicago. I think Pixie's asking.
Okay, cool. And then we'll answer one more question before we take. So Mac or Murray? Man, my projections have them very similar. Is there someone you prefer? I'm guessing that's seasonal.
I'm going with
So,
Murray there. Yeah,
hmm
just the workload last week against the Bears was, and I think that Murray gets better with Drew Brees on the field.
yeah. I mean, we
So,
don't know what to expect. That's my only fear is we don't know if Drew Brees is going to air it out 50 times. I don't think they will. He's just coming
no.
back from injury and they have a bye week next week. But
I think
I
he'd
don't.
run all over this Arizona defense too.
Yeah,
They're pretty low in DVOA against the run, and that's something
hmm
I really value as well. I think Murray's in a smash spot, but his ownership is crazy high today.
Yep,
But for good
yep.
reason. He's got a good price too. Yeah, I'm going Murray there without thinking twice.
Okay. And then we'll answer another. I'm not sure if I missed anything else, but it looks like Jay asked. First off, great job. Thanks, Jay. But I got a question for you guys. How do you feel about playing Carson with Lockett and Lat Murray with Thomas? I love it, especially with cash. I don't mind it at all. If you can fit that in, make it happen. Just make sure that you put either Russell Wilson or Drew Brees in there. And I talked about this yesterday. Jay talked about it earlier in the show. Drew Brees is going to go under owned. So I think Drew Brees is a very sneaky play, and he is one of my two quarterbacks in that $3,300 tournament I just talked about. So
Yep.
giving you
He's
guys
got a
all
great
the
price on
keys to the
FanDuel.
castle. Yeah, he's 7,200. He's very cheap. He's a little bit more expensive on DraftKings when I was looking at it. So I don't like it as much in DraftKings, but on FanDuel, he's a steal. He projects low. Put him in there.
Yeah, 3% ownership on DraftKings. He's got to move up on my GPP board. I wasn't thinking about him at all. They have the highest
Yeah,
implied total on the slate too. 30 and a
yeah,
quarter, it looks like.
cool. I think we're all caught up though. Finally. Whew. Sorry about that, guys. We had some technical difficulties, but
Yeah.
we're good to go.
Next game is the Jets at Jacksonville. I think we could probably talk about two players in this game and move on, unless you got some
Nope,
angles here.
two
Jacksonville's
players.
favored by 6, over under a 40.5. That is the lowest total on the board, and I think it will be the low scoring game on the board. I'll just come out and say my two plays. I love Le'Veon in cash on DraftKings. I don't really like his upside in GPPs, but nobody's playing him, and he's got a very low catch prop too. Like, what is going on with Le'Veon Bell that he's not
Hey, he's
three and a half
on.
catches? What happened?
Take
That guy
that
was
prop
good.
in a heartbeat. Take that prop in a heartbeat. Take the over,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
yeah. It's
Le'Veon.
juiced on the over, but
Yeah,
still 3.5. Come on. I mean, I think Detroit or Jacksonville's missing 3 out of their 4 linebackers. And that's who
yeah,
stops the run as who else do they have here? I'll let you talk about it. I'm going to look up this injury report, but I think Le'Veon is a smash in cash on DraftKings, and nobody's going to play him. So if you want
mm-hmm,
to get off that Chris Carson chalk or the Fournette chalk in cash, because you can't just play everybody at
mm-hmm,
60% ownership in cash, you have to differentiate a little bit. I think
yeah,
Le'Veon's going to be that guy for me if I can afford him. So I will. I'll put it on the Slack channel too. My cash line for DraftKings. We're I think 6 out of the last 7. So
cool.
with the write up
Y-
there. So I'll just put it in there for sure when I figure that out.
yeah,
Le'Veon will be in
definitely.
it.
Le'Veon's a great play. I think he's in a great matchup against a Jaguars run defense that is not very good. Their pass defense is a
Yeah,
lot better even
Marcel
without.
Darius. That's what I was thinking of. He's out today
Okay.
for Jacksonville. I think he's their best run stopper. So
Mm-hmm.
and their linebackers.
Yeah, so Le'Veon, he plays 100% of the snaps. He
That
plays the
too.
whole game. He's going to get over 3.5 catches. So on Monkey Knife Fight, take the over on that if that's the prop. I mean, I'm all in. He'll catch more than 5 in my opinion, and I think he's a good DraftKings play more than FanDuel. On FanDuel, he's a little
Yeah,
bit more
agreed.
expensive. He is priced as the 8th highest on FanDuel at 7,000. But again, he's in a good matchup. If you want to be contrarian, if you want to be different, Le'Veon's going to be there. And I have him in, I was just looking at it now, was 3 of my 15 tournament lineups. I have Le'Veon. Same thing with Gurley. They kind of project an ownership the same. If you don't trust Gurley, I say pivot to Le'Veon. It's a good play.
Yeah, I mean nobody is going to take carries from him, so he'll be on the field. Volume won't be the issue, right? Just can he break one? I don't know if he's going to score a touchdown. I think
Mhm.
he's even money to score a touchdown, so that's not bad. I usually like to get the guys that are
Yeah.
less than even money on that, but yeah, 3.5 catch prop. What is? I thought it was a
but
typo. Yeah, let's take the over on that for sure on Monkey Knife Fight.
Yeah, my favorite play though, and I said this, he's part of my core four is Leonard Fournette. He's 7,700 on FanDuel. You can get off McCaffrey, Barkley, and Carson with Fournette. If you go, cheap running backs and heavy wide receivers, you might be able to fit Fournette in there as well at 7,700. He's just in a killer matchup against the Jets. I don't like the Jets' run defense. The only thing you are going to see is that Fournette's going to be the chalk. He's going to be the most expensive most highly owned running back besides Ty Johnson and Lat Murray. So I think,
Carson's up there too on the DraftKings side. Yeah, it's Carson, Lat, Edmonds, and
Carson's
Fournette.
price on DraftKings is broken. DraftKings does that sometimes,
it just doesn't go up. I don't understand that either.
Yeah, I don't understand either. Yeah. So I'm all in on Fournette on FanDuel. He's in 10 of my 15 tournament lineups that I have, the big money ones.
Jets have given up the most rushing touchdowns to opposing running backs, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So if not the top, they're definitely in the top 5. So I mean, that's the one thing Fournette really hasn't been doing this year too, is scoring touchdowns. So if you're a believer in positive regression there, Fournette should find the box this week. So I'm gonna fade in GPPs on DraftKings. I don't think I could afford him in cash either. But on FanDuel, yeah, I love him on FanDuel. It's just, I don't know. 7,800 on DraftKings. I do respect the Jets run D. I'm not sure why I do, but I do. But I don't know. I would think Fournette's a great cash play. I mean, he's a great play. He's one of the few guys that gets 30 touches a game. Maybe it's not 30, but it's, over 25 guaranteed. So volume is not an issue there as well. And that's just, sometimes just keep it simple on yourself. If you know a guy's going to get the rock, play him.
Yeah, he's going to get the rock, and that's why I like Carson. Carson averages over 25 touches a game, and he's going to be running the ball a lot. But I like Fournette at his price range at 7,700. He's the fourth highest. I feel like he should be up there with Barkley and McCaffrey. I know those guys are horses, especially McCaffrey, but you can't avoid the chalk sometimes. And David Jones from WInDaily, Tenacious D Jones, he said it multiple times. In football, it's a different ball game altogether. In when you're playing tournaments, when you're playing cash, you can't avoid the chalk.
Sure.
You have to play the chalk because someone else is going to do it, and they're going to win the tournament then. So in football,
if it's good chalk, like we said in the beginning, if it's good chalk, and Fournette is good chalk, he's minus 165 to score, and he's got a 4-catch prop. And the Jets, I think, are top 5 in receptions to opposing running backs. So, everything says Fournette smashes here. So maybe I don't fade him. I don't know. Damn it, Javi, you're talking me into all this stuff I was against yesterday. That's why we're here.
My bad, man.
No,
my bad. I'm gonna have to tinker with my lineups when we're done here in 30 minutes. So don't worry.
I live for that 11 o'clock to noon Central Time, just tinkering with my lineups. It's great. Got to get a nice pregame sweat.
Yeah, for me, it's I'll make some eggs after, and then I have to sit down and just focus on my lineups, and I have to answer some Slack questions, and I'm gonna be available, guys. It's a red zone kind of day. I'm gonna sit on the couch for a little bit and just watch those games.
Yeah, I hear you. Anything else on? I want nothing to do with anybody besides Le'Veon Bell and the Jets. Maybe the defense if you need the salary save there. Jacksonville, any love for Shark or DD, anything like that? I'm gonna be, if I play anybody in this game, it's gonna be Bell or Fournette. I want nothing to do with the other quarterbacks, and then maybe the Jets defense. Maybe the Jaguars, I guess, but they're so banged up. I'm gonna probably fade this game in general besides those 2 running backs.
I am a big Minshew mania fan. I love Gardner Minshew. I love his mustache.
Great mustache. Oh, hell
yeah. But for me, I'm only going to use it in the Millie. I just like other values a lot better. I do like the Minshew Shark combo. I think I took it out yesterday. I had one Shark lineup in my 15 tournament lineups, but I'm not gonna do it this week. He's had under 100 receiving yards total in his last 2 weeks, and I think they're just covering him. My love for this game, besides Fournette and Bell, is the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. They're 4,500 on FanDuel. So yeah, it's $500 less than the Pats, who are going to be the mega chalk on defense. But I think they can have they can have a defensive touchdown against the Jets. I mean, I'm hoping for a Darnold game where, like he did against the Patriots, with maybe a Bell touchdown, maybe an 80-yard Bell touchdown, and then 3 defensive touchdowns. So I have
Okay.
not 8. It was 6 or 7 of my 15 tournament lineups have the Jaguars defense. So it's a lot. I think Scott Robinson asked another question about the top 3 GPP defenses. So I'm a big fan of the Jaguars. I'll use it in cash and GPP. If you want GPP, avoid the Pats. So if
And
you have
Indy
like that,
gonna be heavy
yep.
chalk there too. That's a big. I mean, defense. I hate defense in DFS, but it's a great way to differentiate. You know, if you play the chalk everywhere else, get
Mhm.
different on defense. So
Yeah.
Indy's
So
going to be up there too.
yeah. So I agree with you. More DraftKings though. I think Indeed defense because they're 2,900. They're so cheap.
Yeah,
Um, on FanDuel they're 4,800. So
Okay,
they're
big
not going to
difference
be
there.
they're not going to be as highly owned. They're only $200 less than the Pats. Avoid the Pats and GPPs. They're probably going to smash Cleveland. I don't hate it if you go that route. But if you're doing large field, if you're doing like 100-person tournaments, I say go Jaguars, go Saints against Arizona. I think the Saints could get a pick 6 or a defensive touchdown against Kyler Murray. And then the other one, I'd have to say it's so close, but if you have $5,000, I say throw in the 49ers. They look legit. They play Carolina. I'm not sure if they're home or away. I can't see that now, but I think there is weather concerns there too. It's not terrible. It's not going to be
Yeah,
like the
it's
Buffalo Bills
super
game.
windy, but yeah, I think that stadium
Hmm.
kind of blocks it a little bit too.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah.
either of those teams just chuck the ball
Hmm.
down the field.
Yeah. So I said it. I said it in our WInDaily Premium Slack too um, that I like the Buffalo Bills a lot too. So I gave you 4 because I think the Bills will go under, and also they are playing in the worst weathered game against Philly. So I'm actually completely off that game now. I was a big fan of Josh Allen and John Brown earlier in the week, but if you need to save the salary, Buffalo Bills is a great defense this week. So at
I got it
4,300.
here for that Philly Buffalo game. They're thinking gusts of up to 40 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour
Jeez.
sustained. So maybe a Josh Allen run day. I don't know. But my answer for the GPP defense, I only have 2, and that's going to be the Bills. I guess maybe the Eagles now too, but I'm just going to go Bills, and I really like the pricing of the Carolina Panthers on DraftKings. They're 2,400. Nobody's playing them, and all they do is get sacks. I want to see how San Fran does against a quality defense, and they have that matchup this week.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Carolina just because it allows me to pay up for other things, and they're going to get a couple sacks. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I want to say I'm a Jimmy G believer, but with that price of Carolina, I'm just going to take it if no one's going to play it.
Yeah.
If the weather's a little bit sketchy, and they're a free square on DraftKings, so I'm going to play Carolina in cash too. By the way,
Mhm.
guys, so they're
Yeah,
my
Carolina.
defense.
I don't hate it too. I think it's a sneaky GPP play too. But again, it depends on your build. I like to build my defense at the end after I make my whole lineup, and then if I'm like stuck with somebody that I don't want on defense, if I'm down to like the bare minimum and it's
Then
terrible,
you adjust.
but
Yeah.
yeah, then I adjust. But I actually do one of the bare minimums on I think it was DraftKings yesterday is 1,500 for Oakland. Dude, I don't know why I said dude, but Houston's O line is terrible. I could see Oakland getting a fumble, getting a lot of sacks, maybe even a defensive touchdown. I know Watson's going to throw all over this terrible pass defense, but I don't hate Oakland in GPPs. I actually like it a lot. I don't mind it. Sorry, that's my
Yeah,
rant.
no, you're good. I mean, they're 1.5 on DraftKings.
Yeah, the
So,
bare minimum. Do it.
I mean,
I
yeah,
like it on
Houston
FanDuel
gives up a
too.
ton of sacks. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you.
All right, let's move on. I think we're getting into these different tangents.
Yeah.
Our
Well,
next
the
game,
next couple games will go pretty quick. Philly and
yeah.
Buffalo. Buffalo's 2.5-point favorite. I think that total's going down. I had it at 42.
Hmm.
But I'm completely off that game besides defenses. I
I
love the
agree
Bills
100%.
defense like we just talked, but I'm not going to play anybody. No Singletary. No, just
Yeah.
nothing. If you need to save salary, go to other guys that we mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
or we'll get to coming up. But yeah, that game I'm completely off. Are there any questions in the chat you want to go over or anything?
Let me see. So the only thing here is Derek Allen asks, as he's sitting here with his 5-year-old niece's Halloween candy. I received the trade. Aaron Jones and Alshon for Marvin Jones and Hyde. He's getting Jones and Jeffrey. Do the trade. You're getting Aaron Jones.
What?
Yeah. Don't hurry up and accept that before he deletes it. So the last thing was Buster H. Shout out to
For
you, by the way.
Sony.
Yeah, I know you. No love for Sony. I do have love for Sony. I think more on DraftKings than FanDuel. So if you're
We'll get
doing
to that game here too as
yeah,
well.
yeah. So we'll talk about that. But I do have love for him more on DraftKings.
All
But
right,
Philly,
so
Buffalo,
Buffalo.
Buffalo defense. Buffalo defense.
Yep.
Avoid all players. Weather's a disaster. So
yeah, I mean, if you want to do 1 million maker with Josh Allen and somebody, he could run for 100 yards. And if this weather's scaring us, I'm sure is weather that scary? I don't know, but 40-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, I'm out on that. But
God.
yeah,
that's nuts.
Yeah, I'm just out. I'm out on that game completely. Let's go across a pond to London, mate. The Rams are 13-point favorites. I think that total is moving up. I had it at 48 last night. Either way, it's one of the higher totals on the board. What are your thoughts on that game? I know you love Todd Gurley, so we can kind of skip over him a bit, but who else you like for LA?
I mean, for the Millie Maker, and I think Jason Mizrahi, our owner at WInDaily, he kind of talked me into a little bit more Jared Goff with the receivers. But again, there's so many mouths to feed. It's gonna be a blowout.
That's a Russell thing that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to bring up this example. Like, guys, I love the Rams last week, and it was tough. It's like because Gerald Everett can go off. You saw that he got 10 targets last week, and that's like the third game he's got 10 targets. Robert Woods, some days he has 15 targets. Cooper Kupp always gets his, and then Cooks is their down the field guy. It's very, and then Gurley could get passes too. He's not Todd Gurley of last year or the year before that, but it's just very hard. Like you'd hate to lose in a GPP because you had Goff and he went off, but it's like you just didn't pair him with any of the right pass catchers. That's the worst feeling in the world. So that's the one problem I have is like these Rams receivers. I like them more on a cash side. I'm personally not going to be able to put them in any of my builds with what I'm doing at running back. It looks like, but that's my thing. They're in such a great spot. Cincinnati's defense is so bad, but
they're terrible. Their run defense is the worst in the league. It's 185 rushing yards a game. They've allowed 10 or 11 rushing touchdowns. They've allowed been annihilated on the ground.
I'm with you on Gurley. I think is the only thing. I mean, if Jason likes golf, like you got to consider that. It's just I have to take a stand, and it seems like as we go along this show, I'm just going to be on Watson, Stafford, Derek Carr, a little bit of Kyler, and then obviously the Bears Trubisky here, and then Breeze. I don't know. So I can't just add. I can't add golf into my pool. It's just too much.
No, I agree, and he's priced pretty. He's priced pretty high. He's not like cheap anymore. So last week he was pretty cheap. This week he's 8,000 on FanDuel. He's the third highest priced quarterback. Just go Matthew Stafford. Just go. Who else were we talking about? Well, he's in that price range. So Matthew Stafford. I would say Josh Allen, but do not play Josh Allen today.
Just go to Breeze at 72 on FanDuel.
Yeah. Save $800 and go to Breeze. So that's basically it. I don't hate it. If you're doing max entries in the Millie Maker, put Goff in there. He could throw 5 touchdowns against the Cincinnati. Their DBs,
absolutely.
Their top 2 DBs are
definitely
out.
Got to build some of them.
Yeah. The top 2 DBs are out again. So Goff could have a field day. So I don't hate it. Go Goff with Kupp and Cooks. Go Goff with Kupp and Woods. Go Goff with Woods and Cook. I like that for the Millie Maker. It's different.
So many different combos you can get there.
Yeah. But overall, I'd say avoid this game except for Gurley. Gurley's going to go under owned.
Rams defense as well. You could probably play, right?
Yeah.
Rams defense. 4 picks with the best of them.
Rams defense is okay. So if you have that $5,000 left on FanDuel for defense, Pats are going to be the chalk. So use them for cash. If you want to be different and you don't want to go down to the 49ers, you can just pay the same price at $5,000 with the Rams. That's my advice for you if you want to do it. I have one lineup with the Rams. So.
Yep, I want nothing to do with Cincy. I mean, Tyler Boyd's super cheap on DraftKings, and I hate him. He's got a solid player prop though. Like he'd be cash relevant for me. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
5 catches
yeah.
actually. He's usually like the 6.5 range. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, I'm out.
He's
Everything
he's
Cincinnati. I'm out.
he screwed me over the last 2 weeks.
Oh god, I loved him
Yeah,
last week, man.
yeah, me too, and I liked him the week before, but
What do
Andy
you have? He had
Dalton,
14 targets last week. What
yeah,
happened? Yeah, he
it,
got Dalton, I guess.
yeah, Dalton, what is it? The
We can
Red
make that a thing.
Rifle.
You
Yeah,
got Dalton.
yeah, the Red Rifle. He is he wants to go Auden Tate 1 week, and then last week he wants to go Alex Erickson. I just hate the guy. Avoid Cincy receivers. I
Alex
know.
Erickson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
boy,
Boyd,
he had a monster game.
if Boyd Erickson or um, what's this guy's name? Tate go off this week. I'm sorry, but the last 2 weeks, if you've watched Cincy, they're awful. I'm avoiding
Yeah.
them.
I mean, you probably have to start Tyler Boyd in season long, I would assume, in PPR leagues at least. In standard, I would try to do something else, but yeah, I mean, this is more of a DFS show anyway. So I'm out on everything Bengals. I'm not gonna have any exposure to the Rams besides Gurley, and then in the Millie Maker, yeah, exactly like you said, you have to have golf with some of these guys because they could definitely blow up. They could be the highest scoring offense on the slate. So yeah, it's just it's too hard to pair them with in single entry GPPs, in my opinion. Next game, Arizona at New Orleans. Welcome back, Drew Brees. I think New Orleans is now favored by 12 and over under of 48.5. So no
Oh
Alvin
wow.
Kamara, guys. If you got him in your lineup, get him out. And no, what the hell's their tight end's name? Jared Cook. Yeah, he's out
Jared
too.
Cook, yeah.
Yes, and then Arizona, no David Johnson. And I think that's just about it for notable injuries on that side. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on that game? I think this is, I put it here in our little notes here. I think this is a sneaky shootout that nobody's talking about. Everybody's on Lab Murray, and Michael Thomas will get his ownership, but that's it. Like, nobody's talking about anybody on the Arizona side, and maybe for good reason. But
I just can't. When Kyler Murray throws to 9 different people per game,
for sure. So
the
I
last 2
think
weeks. Ugh.
I think when I like Kyler, it's naked Kyler. You don't need to pair him with anybody. Larry Fitz is so cheap on DraftKings, but if you read my cash game articles every week, it's like this guy does not have a ceiling at all. He doesn't. The ceiling is the floor, to misquote Michael Jordan there. But yeah, like he can't break away from anybody. He could catch 10 balls, sure, but like what for 62 yards? You better hope he gets in the box. So like you said, I don't think you need to pair him with anybody. But if you do want to play Kyler, and I'm interested in Kyler today just because nobody's playing him and he could run. So that's really the only thing I like about him is they're going to throw 50 times, assuming the Saints score. But they have an implied total of 18 points. Holy cow. How?
Yeah.
The Saints defense gets a lot of love today, I guess, in Vegas.
Yeah, their run defense is one of the top in the NFL. So they get the love on that. Their pass defense is middle of the pack. It's not terrible, but you mentioned Kyler Murray having him go naked. The person that won the $1 million, I think it was 2 weeks ago when they played Atlanta,
Yeah,
had
it was
Kyler
naked
Murray
Kyler.
and Dave. Yeah, they had Kyler Murray and David Johnson. He threw a touchdown to David Johnson, and that's it. He didn't have any Arizona wide receivers. So it could happen. We don't recommend that. I don't recommend that. That's pure luck. He won $1 million. He deserves it with that ballsy move that he did.
That's right.
But personally, I would not do it. I'm not high
Yeah.
on Arizona at all in this game. The only person I like is Chase Edmonds because it's $6,100 salary. He's cheap. You can put him into flex. That's about all I like for the most part. And then on New Orleans, I love New Orleans. Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, even Josh Hill. Josh Hill's $5,000 on FanDuel. If you want to do it in a tournament, I love the Josh Hill play. I think Drew Brees likes him. He has rapport with him the last few years. No Jared Cook, and when all else fails, you play the tight end against Arizona. So those are my main plays, and of
That's what I
course,
love though. Is every single week this year, everybody just flocks to tight ends against Arizona, but no one is playing Josh Hill. So that's a great GPP play. It looks like Breeze is going to be unowned. He's a great GPP play, and he's a great cash play. It's Drew Brees and Michael Thomas. So you got any love for Ted Ginn?
No, no love for tight end ever.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Um,
My stacks will be Michael Thomas and Josh Hill, and then I do like Lat Murray. But again, as I
yeah,
mentioned before, don't put Lat Murray with Josh Hill and Michael Thomas. Choose two of the three.
yeah,
That's it, max. And if you want to go Drew Brees, go Drew Brees. He's $7,200 on FanDuel. He's a steal. He's priced under Jimmy Garoppolo, Jameis Winston, Phillip Rivers, Baker Mayfield, who I have no shares of.
oh yeah,
Um,
get him
do it.
out.
Yeah. Do Drew Brees, do Derek Carr at 6,900. Do a few Ryan Tannehill if you want. I saw Tannehill in Miami for years. He's garbage, but he has a smash matchup. But yeah, that's Drew Brees is 7,200. I think he's still going to go pretty underowned. Last I checked with projections, he was still under 10%. If that's the case, I love it. Please give me all the Drew Brees and everyone stay away.
You want to do a couple questions here? I see I'm kind of loading
Sure.
up a little bit.
Yeah. So Scott Robinson said, what about QT? He's going to be in none of my
I love
15.
him on DraftKings. I love him on
Yeah.
DraftKings if you need a punt.
Yeah. He's solid. He's going to be in one of my 15 tournament lineups I was looking at. So I have Watson with Hopkins and QT instead of Stills. Stills is the chalk. This tournament that I'm doing though is a 200 person $1,500 tournament. So I have a lot invested for one lineup with QT, but that's about it. You know,
Yeah,
I,
Cootie's got a 2.5 catch prop, so if you could get that on Monkey Knife Fight too with the
mm,
Le'Veon Bell we liked a lot, I think you could definitely
mm,
bet the over on Cootie's catches at 2.5. Yeah, and
yeah,
juice is on the over, but
yeah,
I think that's free money. Free money Sunday. Shout out to whoever was saying that in the chat. I think that's Le'Veon Bell over and QT over. I
yeah,
don't love QT for I love him for a punt. Like I said earlier, there's very few guys under 4K that get consistent targets, and it was Mike Williams at 4K and Anthony Miller I think at 3,600 or 3,400 maybe. He's something really low like that, and then Kiki Kuti's the other guy at
mm,
3,600. So I will have some shares of Kuti, but not
yeah,
in anything like my main lineup. But with those stacks that we like for Houston, Oakland shooting out, I definitely
mm,
think that you can get different in that game by using Kuti. But
yeah, yeah,
don't expect a huge ceiling out of him. If you get 12, be happy with that because that's a
hmm
good game for Kuti.
yeah,
And at
yeah.
that,
I
your other
agree.
guys that go off.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't hate it at all. I love this name, Durakin Warhammer. I hope your last name is Warhammer. That is great.
But
He said sneaky Cincinnati stack. No, don't do
it's sneaky. I'll tell you that. You'll be the only guy in the
it.
world doing it. But no,
Yeah,
do
I
not
mean,
go.
they have Jalen Ramsey now. They upgraded their secondary a little bit. I just no, I can't trust the red rifle Andy Dalton, so I would not do it. Buster, we talked about Josh Hill with your stack. I'm all about it. Michael
Absolutely.
Thomas and Josh Hill. Thoughts GPP plays? I just responded, Brad, but I wouldn't. So
Yeah. You still there?
awesome.
All right. I can hear you now. GPP, this cash game. Yada, yada. What's the player? Pizza today. Can you still hear me? Javi? What's going on? Javi, you still there? Go ahead. I can't hear anything. Can you guys hear me?
Can you hear me? You good?
Yeah. There we go. Now we're good. Okay.
My headphones died. I even charged them. My bad.
There you go. Okay. I was like, I don't know.
Let's move on. I think we answered all the questions. Well, there was one more. Barkley at flex at 8,600 Fournette, 7,700 FanDuel. I don't know with what you have built up to have that much fluctuation in salary, but I prefer Fournette at 7,700 FanDuel personally. So
I'm Team Barkley today, but that's a big difference there. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we love the Saints side of this game in Arizona. I think the only play that I would consider is naked Carla, or I'm out on Edmonds and all forms besides season long. Next game, Denver at Indy. Indy's -4. We got an over under of 42. I only want Cortland Sutton in this game. I want nothing to do with anybody else. Maybe Indy defense, but that's it.
And that's it. Yeah, Cortland Sutton's my only play. If you want to go, if you want to do a punt wide receiver, I don't hate Deshaun Hamilton. Yeah, there's got to be a number 2 to fill in that void for Emmanuel Sanders leaving, but he's not in any of my 15 big lineups. So I am all about going Cortland Sutton at 6,000 on FanDuel. That's it. We can move on.
Yeah. Carolina at San Fran. This is a very low total, 42. San Fran's favored by 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
My only question on this game here is I'm not going to play anybody from San Fran. Maybe Tevin Coleman in the Millie Maker, stuff like that. But he won't be on any of my main lineups. He doesn't really catch enough balls for me to really like him on DraftKings at that price. I would rather just go to James White. But what do you do with McCaffrey, man? What are your thoughts? I would love to have an input there, but looking at player props, he has the highest all-purpose yards prop. So that's something I really value. He's minus 165 to score, and he's got a 5.5 catch prop. So that's like, is he matchup proof? I want to say yes. And like, the thing I'm scared of this week is someone with McCaffrey wins all the GPPs, and we just talk about like why we're not on McCaffrey. So I think I like him a lot in GPPs, and I'm going to pair him with the Panthers defense. Because, I mean, McCaffrey costs an arm and a leg, and the Panthers defense is free. So I think as of now, after seeing those player props, I'm gonna trust Vegas. I'm gonna trust McCaffrey. He's probably the best running back in the NFL right now. So, but I haven't heard anybody say that they're gonna ride that ship of McCaffrey. So I think I may be that guy. He's 12% owned on DraftKings right now in the projections. Like, well, you're never gonna see McCaffrey under 15 to 20% ever again. So
cool. Yeah, I agree with you. The only thing that scares me is his price tag. He's 9,600 on FanDuel, and then the next one.
That's tough on FanDuel. I mean, he's 92 on DraftKings. That's a lot too, but you can get Ty Johnson for so cheap. So I mean, that's going to be the pair though. Is like if you do McCaffrey, everybody's going to play him with Ty Johnson or. So I think my favorite build right now in my GPPs and my main lineup is going to be McCaffrey with James White. James White's pretty cheap on DraftKings, and no one's going to play him. So I gotta have to get a little bit different here. So
I don't hate it. So McCaffrey at 9,600, and then the second highest running back is Saquon at 8,600. I prefer, if you're going to do the safer play, it's Saquon. This front seven for San Fran is just good. But what Carolina is doing is they're running McCaffrey into the ground. It's basically similar to Gurley last year. And they're forcing McCaffrey to get the ball, whether it's in the passing game or in the running game. So in large field GPPs, I like it. Even in the $200, I was talking about this earlier, it's 200 people, $1,600 tournament on FanDuel. I have one share of McCaffrey in the 6 lineups. So I maxed out on that one. That's it. I don't trust the matchup. That's it. And I talk about target the bad defenses. But if they're going to force McCaffrey to get the ball, he's going to get a touchdown or two. The only thing is, will he hit value at 9,600? That's my concern.
No, I'm with you. I mean, he's projected for just above hitting value on DraftKings here on my model, but
so I'm avoiding receivers. I'm avoiding tight end. Greg Olsen, he's pretty cheap on FanDuel at 5,500. You can
very cheap on DraftKings too.
I'm not a big fan of Olsen this week. I had him in a lineup and I took him out. I just couldn't do it. I do like the 49ers defense at 4,800 as a GPP play. They're going to go pretty low owned.
Yep.
If you want to get off
my favorite, or not my favorite, Panthers are, sorry.
No, Panthers is great though too. I don't think I was talking about it either, but they're basically a free square. They're $3,500 on FanDuel. I'm okay with it. So I don't hate the play at all. I'd say you can go Panthers or 49ers defense. Either one's good. But again, it's GPPs only, not cash games. And, if you want to go McCaffrey, they're saying 15% to 20% owned. I think he'll be between 10 and 15%. I'm not the biggest fan of McCaffrey this week, though. I hate saying that because I'm a big fan of him. So usually,
right. That's my one big headache right now is to McCaffrey or to not. But yeah, that's all I like in that game. Really, I mean, maybe Tevin on San Fran's side. You could play Marquise Goodwin in the Millionaire Maker because he could blow up anytime. But I'm out on investing in that. Next game's our favorite here. Houston -7, hosting Oakland. Total of 52.
Yeah,
That's our shootout. That's a game you love, and I like that one a lot as well. I think that was in the Stacks article.
Yep.
Who are your favorite plays there? I think we pretty much covered them all too. So if you just want to briefly highlight, and we can go to some questions and talk about Cleveland, New England, and then start building.
Sure. So for those that joined late, this is my favorite game stack. This is my favorite game of the slate is Oakland and Houston. I love Watson in cash and GPPs. I'm a big fan of DeAndre Hopkins and building your lineup around him. He's part of my core 4 for sure. So he's going to be in a bunch of my lineups, and I'll have a good chunk of Deshaun Watson in a bunch of my lineups. I think he's in half my lineups right now. And then I have Derek Carr in a good chunk. And I have Derek Carr paired with Tyrell Williams and Waller. And then there's another lineup I think I have of Derek Carr with just Waller. So he loves to throw to Darren Waller. He's finally priced up, which is unfortunate because I was loving his price tag, especially on DraftKings. But right now he is priced as the second highest at 6,800, but I am going to have a good chunk of Darren Waller. He's my favorite tight end of the slate. He's going to be all.
I mean, he's pretty much a receiver.
Yeah, I'm all in on him. So I love Derek Carr. I love Darren Waller. Those are my 2 favorites from Oakland side. And then on the Houston side, I like Deshaun Watson. I love Deshaun Watson. I love DeAndre Hopkins. I love Kenny Stills. And I think it's my $3,000 lineup. I have 2 of those. I have Deshaun Watson and Kenny Stills and DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm expecting a shootout. This is gonna be a high scoring game. And I'm giving you the keys to the castle. I'm giving you what I'm doing. So if I win, we win together. If we lose together. Don't hate me for it though.
Take the over on that game too. It sounds like we're both on that.
Cool.
Yeah, I love Derek Carr. You talked me into that a little bit, and just seeing all this ownership go to Deshaun Watson, it makes sense. If you guys all think that Watson's going to go off, then you definitely need to give Derek Carr some love too, because if he's going to pass 50 times today, that's someone you want exposure to, and it doesn't seem like anybody's playing him.
Yep. I just confirmed we're good to. I know our live stream is supposed to end in 2 minutes, but we're good for 10 minutes after. If you're good, Nick. So I'm going to answer some questions for the last 12 minutes. I think we have one more game to discuss, and then we can answer all the questions you guys want.
Cool. Yeah. Next game up is Cleveland at New England. I think there's rain in that game. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to just say that there's going to be bad weather there when it's at like 3:30 my time. So a lot could change in that time. But this game's got a pretty low total as well. New England's favored by 12, over under of 43.5.
Mm-hmm.
I want nothing to do with anybody on Cleveland. Maybe Nick Chubb in GPPs, especially large field. No one's playing Nick Chubb, and he's kind of a volume king too. What is his ownership at? It's way down there.
Mm-hmm.
So I have interest in Chubb and James White, and I don't know. I mean, can you stack the Patriots with Brady? Like, no one's playing him either.
So I had it yesterday where I had about 10 lineups with Brady, with Edelman and Dorset. But I took it all out. I think
where's the upside in Edelman and Dorset?
Yeah,
you need for Edelman to hit value. If I don't project him to give very many red zone looks, so you need 10 catches out of him, which he could do for sure. It's just, do they need to do that today when you could just run all over Cleveland? You look at that spread, New England at home, a 12-point favorite at home just screams Sony Michel and James White to me.
Yeah, they're both going to be good tournament plays. So those are two of my favorite tournament plays are Sony Michel and James White. Don't do it together, but Michel at 6,500 on FanDuel is a great play. And then James White at 6,000. He's a little volatile. He's not as good this year. On FanDuel, it's a half-point PPR, so I don't like White as much on FanDuel.
Yeah, he's more of a DraftKings flair guy for sure.
Yeah. So
I think he's fine for cash too. I mean, he gets 12 points a week.
Yeah,
on DraftKings.
He can be a cash saver for you on DraftKings. I think I have him in a few lineups. I'm only playing the Millie Maker on DraftKings, so I don't know. I have a few shares of him, but the top play is the defense for the Pats. Baker Mayfield overrated. He's terrible, whatever you want to call it. I like Julian Edelman. I have one lineup of my 15 tournament lineups with Julian Edelman at 6,600, but I am most likely going to switch because of the weather. It's wet. It's going to rain all game most likely. It's not going to be a downpour from what I'm seeing, but it could cause some issues. So I expect it to be low scoring. I wouldn't be surprised if the Pats don't cover the 11-point spread. I think they will, but I would not be surprised if it's a close game and it's just going to be a run fest. Chubb, White, Michelle.
Right. All right. So we do have a couple more questions here.
Sure.
Who was it?
So we can go through position short after we're done.
Yeah, for sure. So the question from Rich was D-Hop, Gurley, Thomas, Fournette. Is that your core? I think that's probably directed at you. I don't think you can afford all those guys, can you?
You can't. Well, no. You have to have somebody who's cheap in there. So the cheap guy is Ty Johnson. So I would say that take out Gurley and put Ty Johnson. I love Gurley today. Don't get me wrong. But my core four, again, is DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, Fournette, Ty Johnson.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say that makes a lot more sense. Anything on the Cleveland side that I hate to just say Odell Beckham is out of my player pool, but he's out of my player pool.
Yeah, he's off. Take him out.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm with that. Jarvis Landry, I like him a little bit on DraftKings, but again, I don't see the upside there. That's Millie Maker stuff. If you want to get different and play a guy that's going to be 4% owned, Jarvis Landry is going to be that guy.
Let's we can't build a full lineup for you guys, but let's build with the core four that I discussed real quick. You cool with that, Nick?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, so you can do DraftKings. I'll do FanDuel. For FanDuel, so I locked in Ty Johnson, Fournette, Hopkins, and Michael Thomas. You have 50,000. You're taking a good chunk by paying up with two big wide receivers, but you can easily pair that up with Drew Brees at 7,200. So just looking at that, you have about like 6,000 left to play with on there. Again, we're not going to build you a full lineup, but I'm giving you my keys to the castle, basically. At flex, you can go Latavius Murray to save even more salary, so at 6,200. And then there you can.
Love Lat Murray.
Yeah. Lat Murray's a good play. And again, this is a good lineup even for like a 100-person tournament, anywhere between 50 and 100 and below, because it's purely a cash game play, cash lineup that I'm giving you. Somebody asked about, give us the pizza. He said, GPP this, cash game that, yada yada. What's the play for?
I think that's one of my buddies. Yeah, he's
is it
football? So it'll be thin crust. Today, not going deep dish, silky. So
yeah, no worries. But Drew Brees, Ty Johnson, Leonard Fournette, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Thomas, Latavius Murray. So then you have a wide receiver, a tight end, and a D left. For that, you guys can figure out the rest from there. Again, we're not going to build a full lineup, but that is a great basis. That is a great lineup already. That if you get hurt by somebody throwing up a 5 or a 10 in that other wide receiver spot that you choose, it won't hurt you as much, because I think DeAndre Hopkins, Fournette, Ty Johnson, Brees, and Thomas are a good core 5.
I guess
sorry.
My one question to you, Javi, is for cash, because I was so high on Stafford Galladay. I'm not going to play Ty Johnson in cash, so do I go Stafford Galladay or do I Ty Johnson?
Yeah, so
I like Lat Murray more personally, but the price difference, he's 900 less to go to Ty Johnson. It's just like, I would rather go Lat Murray. So I think my core right now is Stafford, Barkley, Latavius, and Galladay, and Mike Williams, and I think Jonnu too. So there's 6 for you in cash. If you want to go to Slack, I'll probably just share my cash lineup in there, but I don't usually like to do that because I want you guys to kind of, I'm not god here by any means in the cash game stuff. So
Yeah.
get a little different, but I'll probably share my lineup on there. And then if people want to just use that as a baseline and plug and play some other guys, but I definitely think if you use Saquon, Latavius, and James White on DraftKings, or no, I want to use Le'Veon Bell, so I don't know.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna have to use Javi.
Yeah, we're giving you again. You guys basically find your core plays. You have my core plays. You have Nick's core plays. Make 5 to 10 lineups. Do 100-person tournaments. Those large field GPP ones, it's tough to cash in. You know, everyone's like, oh, it's so easy to do a Millie Maker. If it was so easy, everybody would win at least once. I've never won the Millie Maker. I've come close. I've gone 20.
It pays out so terrible too. It's so top heavy. Like you're really not. If you're just playing DFS to shoot for the moon and try to win $1 million, sure, it's a great tournament for you there. But if you're trying to build a consistent bankroll, that tournament's awful.
I don't build my bankroll off the Millie Maker. I build my bankroll between 100 and 200-person tournaments, mainly
DraftKings and you then go play the Millie Maker with DraftKings money. Or I guess it's other people's money too at the end of the day, but that sounds a little bit morbid. It's DraftKings money we're spending.
Okay, let's get some more questions. I want to go in order. So favorite play at each position. So I think wrestling, paving. You put in the chat there your favorite play. So I'll go QB, Deshaun Watson. Running backs, it's going to be Ty Johnson, Leonard Fournette, Latavius Murray, Chris Carson. Those 4 on FanDuel. Again, you can throw Saquon in there as well if you want. He's just too expensive for me with what I want to do. And then for wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas. I do love me some Kenny Stills as well, especially the pair with Watson. If you can, I love Tyler Lockett. I love Kenny Galladay. So I would add D-Hop.
Yeah, I'm all over Galladay this week.
Yeah. People are going to be on Marvin Jones. I don't hate the Marvin Jones play, but I think this is Kenny Galladay's week. So I
think Galladay sees DeAndre Baker more in coverage too.
Mm-hmm.
I had that. I mean, Marvin Jones will see him too because DeAndre Baker doesn't shadow, and if he did, he'd be out of the NFL.
Yeah.
But I think that's Galladay's side more often, so I'm just going to go with Galladay too. And I mean, Marvin Jones' ownership's not crazy for after what he did last week.
Mm-hmm.
I figured people will play the recency bias. It's not bad. I mean, you could definitely stack Stafford with both of them, and Stafford with one of them, and Hawkinson. Or you could do Stafford, Ty. Like, there's a lot of ways to stack up this Lions offense today, so I do like them a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm wearing the Stafford jersey today, so that's my QB one.
I'm
Outside of Watson, but
I'm wearing my Tony Romo jersey, so Romo's gonna come in today. I got.
Maybe he's out playing golf somewhere, right? Or I mean,
no, he didn't announce it today. My favorite play-by-play guy. So back to the positions. I'll give you 4 for each position. That's what I'll do for you guys. So 4 QBs: Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Matt Stafford. Those are my 4. Running back again, Ty Johnson, Leonard Fournette, Latavius Murray, Chris Carson. And then for wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, Tyler Lockett, Kenny Galladay. I'll give you a 5th too, Kenny Stills. All right. And then for tight end, you can go Darren Waller, who's my favorite. You have Austin Hooper. You have Evan Ingram, and then Jonnu Smith. Those are my 4. And then from defense, I mean, I like a lot of defense today, but it goes Pats, Saints, Jaguars, Bills. Those are my top 4.
Yeah.
Keys to the castle, everyone.
I'm trying to do the same here.
Yeah. While you do that, it's fine. I think so. John, MLB moving averages just jumped on. Good morning, John. Great segment yesterday. He says, I'm all over John Brown. I hate to tinker. Should I make an exception? Yes. The weather's going to be terrible, John. I would get off John Brown. If you want to pivot.
Have him in a lineup or 2, though. Just if you liked him all week, I wouldn't just completely destroy what you're doing just on the sake of weather. Like, John Brown could still catch a deep ball. But I would move the majority of my exposure off of that game completely. Yeah,
John, I'd go to, if you're doing FanDuel, pivot to Kenny Stills. I like that play. So. Cool. And then Scott Robinson, GPP, Watson, Gurley, Michelle, Hopkins, AJ Brown, Holiday. I don't know which Holiday that is.
Probably Galladay, right?
He said Galladay. Sorry, Galladay, Waller, Sutton, Jags. 100-man GPP. I love it. It's good. The only one that's a little risky is AJ Brown. So if you want to go Michelle to Ty Johnson, you save $800 there, and then you can bump up AJ Brown to someone better. Let me just pull up my pricing sheet real quick. I mean, what do you think about that lineup?
I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's
for 100-man for sure. Yeah, it's pretty bulletproof, you would think. I got my top 4 here. They're kind of, this is all for GPP stuff. Watson, Stafford, Breeze, and Trubisky for DP or DraftKings GPPs. I'm high on the Bears offense today. I don't know why, but nobody's playing them. So, well, I know why nobody's playing them. It's disgusting, but I will be playing them. And then Austin Eckler on the other side of that Bear stack, Saquon Barkley, Le'Veon Bell, Lat Murray, Galladay, Allen Robinson, Mike Evans. I when we were doing that Tampa Bay game earlier, I'm pretty high on him. And then Michael Thomas, obviously, but that's pretty expensive there. So I'll open up some value in the chat here after that. But then Evan Ingram, Darren Waller, Jonnu, and Josh Hill. Those are my top 4 GPP pool guys right now. That my exposure and my builds are at. I love Austin Eckler.
Yeah, and I'll put this in the chat for you guys in the Slack, in our premium Slack channel. For those of you guys that are subscribed, I'll put my top 4 for each position on there, and I'll go through my exposure. I like to screenshot exactly who I'm using in those big tournaments, and I can go through it. And again, I'll be in there until lock. So feel free to ask the questions and go about that route if you have any questions. You could also DM me. I know I have a few DMs and I'm a little behind. I apologize, but I'll get to it eventually.
No, we're going on a rant there. I like it. I hope we covered the slate well enough for everybody. Are there any more questions? I guess my thought of the day is bet the Bears over.
So. Yeah. It's a pretty low game. Let me see. Let me make sure we didn't get any questions before we sign up. How do you feel about Breeze Thomas stacking cash, and who would you use for running back with this? Breeze Thomas stacking cash is great. Running backs, Fournette and Ty Johnson.
Yeah.
So Scott, we answered yours. Okay, so Matthew B said, unfortunate scenario in standard before wrap. Dan Jones or Mason Rudolph. Go Dan Jones. I think it's going to be a high score against Detroit.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Let's see. I think so. Scott, I said already answered that. Yep, I think we're good. I don't know if you have any last thoughts, Nick, but I'm good on my end. I think we answered everyone's questions.
Yeah. Get shares of Eckler and DraftKings.
Yeah. He's a big fan of Eckler and draft. I'm not on Eckler and FanDuel because of the price. But get your Ty Johnson shares in there. Get your Leonard Fournette shares. Get your DeAndre Hopkins. Get your Michael Thomas. Let's do this, guys. Let's win some money. Let's get that pizza as your budget.
If any thin crust today, yeah. If anybody's got any questions or anything like that after, just go to the Slack channel. We'll get you. I know I'm going to be actively making lineups now after Javi pushed me in some directions that I was not thinking of, but that's good. That's why we do this. Open up your mind a little bit. So, yeah. Good luck today, everybody. So we'll see what happens. Should be a great week of games, I think.
Yeah, you have our Twitters here too. So if you're not on our
DM me anytime. I live on my phone, so
if
I miss one of your lineup questions, call me in as dead probably because there's no way I missed it on my phone.
But yeah, this is fun. I think Nick and I are back next week for the pre-lock as well. I don't know if you're going to be there, Nick, but I definitely will.
Yeah,
so just we'll be here. Let's win some money together. Don't yell at me too much if we mess up, because I probably, if you use my lineups, we'll lose together. We can just have a beer in the future.
Oh yeah, if my bear stack wins the Millie Maker, I'll retire and then I'll just go have a WInDaily party with everybody.
Cool. Go Cowboys, guys.
All right. See ya.
All right. See you guys. Good luck, everyone.